Afghan refugees who made it to the U.S. after their birth country had fallen to Taliban control are now at risk of being sent back. However, there is legislation that could prevent this from happening, but right now it is stuck in the Senate. This next story is about the local push for the Afghan Adjustment Act. On August 30th of last year, the United States ended its nearly 20-year-long occupation in Afghanistan after the Taliban had taken back control. The U.S. left behind millions of Afghans desperate to flee, but also evacuated thousands. Zainab Husseini was one of those thousands.
When we entered the airport and we got into the car, I was feeling that that's the end and I'm safe together with my family.
Now, after being settled in the U.S. for over a year, Husseini is at risk of being deported because she's here on humanitarian parole.
There's just this 2-year window of parole, and at the end of that 2 years, legally, you can be sent back to Afghanistan.
Ellen Smith is the executive director of Keeping Our Promise, a local group working to resettle refugees in Rochester. According to Smith, Afghan refugees here on humanitarian parole have two options to become permanent residents. They can either apply for a special immigrant visa or seek asylum. However, with the amount of asylum cases, the lack of lawyers, and the limited time frame, local groups say there needs to be another way.
The solution to this is for Congress to pass the Afghan Adjustment Act. And what that will do is give permanent residency to those Afghans that came in on humanitarian parole.
The Afghan Adjustment Act would be able to get rid of what Husseini and her family feel is a ticking time bomb.
Back in the country, I have nothing. Nothing is waiting for me. No one is waiting for me. And for sure, we will be arrested by Taliban.
As of now, the legislation is being held up in the Senate. News 8 has reached out to the offices of New York Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand for comment on this matter, but they have yet to respond. However, local Congressman Joe Morelli has shown support for the act, saying, quote, "It is unconscionable that a group of partisan actors is preventing this from happening." If action is not taken to pass the act, thousands of Afghan refugees are at risk of losing the life they fought to secure here in the United States.
There's just not anything for our families to go back to. There is no society for our families to fit in Afghanistan.
Time is of the essence in this case because many of the refugees here on parole are coming up on their time limit to be granted asylum. Congress adjourns on December 22nd.